For over 20 years, Hawke's Bay has been without passenger trains. KiwiRail scrapped the Bay Express train service across Hawke's Bay in October 2001.
We used to have the Bay Express that used to travel from here down to Waipukurau. I remember taking the train as a child and it was a big thing to have a trip to Hastings. Today we have hundreds and hundreds of people travelling by car to come and work in Hastings from central Hawke's Bay. We have to show them we want it, and if we
Hawke's Bay MP Anna Lorck is calling for the council and the residents to support her plan to bring the service back.
I decided to take this community action because having read the public transport plan for the next decade from the regional council, there are plans for buses, and I said, but hey, why don't we have a vision for a train? Why don't we look at passenger commuter rail for Hawke's Bay? I hope that we can build a really strong community voice to enable us to get on track.
Last Friday, a rail feasibility study was added to the draft plan as it was approved by the Hawke's Bay Regional Council's Transport Committee. And Lorck is not the only one unhappy about the absence of passenger rail.
I used to travel the Bay Express a lot, and I'd like that for the younger generation these days to be able to experience what we used to. People's attitudes might change because a lot more people are more aware of the climate change.
The opportunity of the train services that are already there needs to be reconnected, researched, and make a very, very positive supporting business plan. There's a certain amount of resentment to the project based on cost rather than treating it as an investment. It's better to treat it as an investment and get the public and industry and get all the other ancillary activities like tourism and cleaning up our airspace.
And the recent consultation on Hawke's Bay Regional Public Transport Plan saw good levels of engagement.
So we're presently consulting, and we've just closed submissions on our regional public transport plan. Really excited by the level of community interest there has been. We've had over 250 submissions on the plan, which is a lot for a regional consultation.
Among these were over 50 submissions related to the passenger trains, which would connect Napier, Hastings and Central Hawke's Bay together. An express train could bring more tourism to the bay as well as provide an alternative option for the commuters. But would people incorporate train travel into their daily lives?
Probably not. Maybe only if I was to do that with my girls for a bit of an experience. It just wouldn't fit into what I need to do during the day.
Just for old time's sake, I think, yeah.
Yeah, but not really for like a commute?
No, not really, no.
Why?
It's easier to go in the car.
Probably still take the bus because where the train stations are in Napier and Hastings, it would still be quite a long walk or another journey to get to the train station.
Some locals treat train travel as a more leisurely way to get from Napier to Hastings and are also concerned about the cost.
Yeah, it does seem like a lot of money for such a short trip. There's not a lot of stops in between, a bit of a luxury.
I'm against that, really. It'd be a waste of money, I think. It wouldn't be very economical. It's only got a certain appeal to certain people, so the expeditions are quite good.
High cost is one of the reasons Hawke's Bay Regional Council hasn't advanced the plans yet.
So on the face of it, it looks attractive. We've got a rail line already that exists down into Central Hawke's Bay, but then when you reflect on the fact that there would be a whole lot of investment required in infrastructure, and there'd need to be obviously a platform in Napier and Hastings for passengers that was all purpose-built for that reason. And there's a cost obviously to operating a rail car as well.
The estimated cost of upgrading the infrastructure is up to hundreds of millions, and the process will take more than a decade. The existing rail in Hawke's Bay is just a single rail line, catering to freight trains which are far less frequent than the passenger trains. But for a viable passenger network, one-way only is not good enough.
This is a very cost prohibitive and challenging option in terms of being able to operate on a single line that also has to compete with freight and also be one direction obviously at any given time.
Hawke's Bay's small population is another contributing factor.
Rail is a wonderful idea where you've got large population density in places like Auckland or Wellington where commuter rail can be affordable and work. In our region, the reality is that that population base doesn't exist and we don't have that scale that justifies it.
Hawke's Bay Regional Council is looking at other more affordable and effective options for its public transport solution.
And what we have put forward, which we're seeing really strong support in submissions for, is this more cost-effective solution by way of a bus service twice a day in the mornings and in the evenings down to Central Hawke's Bay. And we are planning to move to electric transport in terms of the bus fleet in the coming years. And so by having electric buses providing the service, we get those emissions reduction benefits without having to go to diesel locomotives.
The rail feasibility study was added to the draft plan at the last minute. It will go to a full Hawke's Bay Regional Council meeting for adoption. At the same time, Lorck is keen to make sure it is properly considered, also launching a public survey on the matter. J. Pang, Local Focus.